Murphy in regards to the wind funds. Councilman Murphy?
Yes, thank you. I was concerned about where the details of the wind funds went. We are new council, so we coming in on the tail end of this. We voted, well, I didn't. You guys voted for to apply for $12 million revolving loan to pay for some infrastructure improvement that was earmarked to be paid for with wind funds. I think it's important that we find out where the money was spent. Why are we asking the residents to pay for something that was earmarked in the wind funds? $167 million came into the city of Flint, and there may have been some changes, some unforeseen projects or some issues that came up. Either this mayor or the previous mayor may have seen that they didn't predict was going to have to take place when they was replacing the service line and doing whatever infrastructure improvement. But I think the residents deserve, this council deserves to know where the wind funds went. And I put a referral in, I think a couple of months ago, to get a detailed budget of the wind funds. So I wanted to talk about that after that vote was passed, that we are getting ready to apply for a $12 million revolving loan. I understand that there is some capital improvement and infrastructure that need to take place, but somebody dropped the ball, and we just need to see whether they dropped the ball or maybe they just had to do something different. It's just something that they couldn't do. We just want, as the council for the 3rd Ward, would like to be able to look at a detailed budget. I don't know if we need to do a forensic audit of the wind funds or just look at the detailed budget. Whatever the pleasure of this body would like, I'm for it, but I need to be able to put my eyes on the detailed budget and look at it to see where money went and why are we short for $12 million. I think a forensic audit will be better, but if the pleasure of the body is something different, it's up to you guys. I don't want to take a long time on this because we already going on 8 o'clock and we haven't started the city council meeting. I know my colleague, Councilman Burns, wanted to do a special meeting. I didn't know that, to talk about the wind funds. If you guys want to just postpone this discussion and wait and talk about it and do a special meeting to talk about the wind funds, I'm okay with that. And if you guys want to do that on the day that we meet to talk about the blight, we can either do that or just pick another day, or maybe we need to see if we can get some information from the administration, the finance director, Whittaker. I did have a conversation with him. He's willing to try to pull some financial records together for us. I'm not sure how quick he can get that to us, but I did put a request in to Whittaker to see if he can give me a detailed budget of where the wind funds went and what we have left, because I think it's very unfortunate that the residents want to have to pay $12 million for something that we had money earmarked for. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Whittaker. Mr. Whittaker, you don't have to necessarily come up, but are you available to, if we have a meeting on Wednesday, are you available? Not available. Okay. So for the record, he stated that he was not available on Wednesday. So we had originally planned to have the wind money meeting on Wednesday, but nobody from the administration seems to be available. So we'll have to schedule that another time. To your point, Mr. Murphy, I don't know that we're missing $12 million because we still have $8 million or so but we don't have time enough to spend it for these projects. So they're talking about the $8 million that we do have is putting that towards the restorations. So we're not necessarily missing $12 million. Well, I guess, why weren't those restorations paid for already? That's another problem. But I was looking forward to meeting and having a discussion on Wednesday, but with nobody here, to answer questions, I think it will be a moot point and we'll just have quorum for no reason. I think the administration needs to be here to answer any questions so that we can figure it out and decipher what went wrong or did it not go wrong and there's just a big misunderstanding. I don't know. But we definitely need to get down to brass tacks and figure out what the deal is. So I guess we'll have to, if we want to continue this discussion now, since a few of them are here, that's up to you, or we can postpone it for another time.
Okay. Anyone else who wishes to speak in this discussion?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
We'll do Ms. Winfrey Carter, and then we'll go to Mr. Mays.
I do remember, thank you, Madam Chair. I do remember that I put in a referral, and this is to Janelle. Did you get my referral for, I think I asked for the WIN funds vote and what it was that the council voted on as far as what that money was earmarked for. No, I said it in council meeting on Wednesday. So I would like that in each council person's mailbox. So that because we talked about exactly what was that money earmarked for. And I know we voted on it, the former council. Okay, so I would like that referral. When we ask for referrals, are we making notes and making sure that the referrals are, taken care of?
We do the best we can. We really do try and work and get those out.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mays?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, on this wind farm thing, special order requested. Council voted to spend 5 minutes on it at the time. There was a communications about a special meeting on the wind funds. Ms. Winfrey Carter, I can appreciate you if I'm hearing right. You asking that they pull that resolution from the previous council where we voted to allocate money. Mr. Whittigan them is saying, hey, we've talked to the state or somebody, and as long as we use it a certain way, we don't have to come back to council. And I'm paraphrasing what I'm hearing. I disagree with that. Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Whittigan, so since he's talking, am I mischaracterizing it? Can you come forward? See, what I'm experiencing from this administration and from this council votes ain't amount to a hill of beans. That's problematic, very problematic. I've seen this council vote to follow agenda with no add-ons in the budget process, and they went against council votes. If we can't get council back the votes to mean nothing, we might as well run a emergency manager form of government, a dictatorship, an anarchy. Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Whittigan, Mr. Edwards might have been the one who said it. Let's see if you can shed light. I heard on this microphone that somebody is telling the administration that if the council voted on certain projects, like the Cedar Street pump station reservoirs, that y'all can switch that around without coming to council. Are you familiar with that philosophy?
No.
Okay, so you're saying that those wind funds have to be reconsidered by council?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just not sure what you're referring to.
Okay, well, I'm positively know what I'm referring to, and I'm glad that I followed up because you said no, and then you say, that means I don't know what you're referring to. I could have took that no as an answer of no. That was a trick answer to me. So you haven't heard or you don't know as the chief financial officer whether or not council should reconsider the allocations. Is that what you're saying, or do you know?
Again, I am not sure to what conversation you are referring to.
Okay, I'm gonna make it plain, Mr. Whittaker. The former council allocated money for different projects from the wind fund. We had an opportunity to allocate millions to fix the water plant. We chose not to do that. We had an opportunity to allocate millions for the reservoir and pump station. We chose to do that. Did you know that?
I would have to look into that.
Beg your pardon?
I would have to look into that.
Okay, how long is it going to take you to look into that?
If you could have your staff send a referral, we'd be happy to look into it.
No, I ain't going to have my staff send no referral to you. I'm asking you now, and I'm asking you to look into it. If you don't, then you refusing my request in a council meeting. We have the right to inquire. I'm inquiring. You don't know, you don't want to know, you don't want to make it easy, you don't want to take no notes, you want to stand up here and, in my opinion, act a certain way. So I've asked you. I already know the answer. I know the answer. I was here when I voted on it. You might not know. So no, I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to do it. I'll let this council figure it out. They're the ones that's new. And if you piss them off, I hope they subpoena you and put you under oath. Where you going? You walking out? See, that's the type attitude and people that I'd like to make a motion to call an investigative hearing and put these administrators who walk out under oath and get to the bottom of it, and I so move.
Can you restate that motion for the record, please? Can you restate that motion for the record?
I'm asking for an investigative hearing on the wind funds because of these people are playing a game. Well, I'll deal with that in discussion. I move for an investigative hearing on the wind funds.
Okay, is there a second?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
I'll gladly support that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Mr.
I want to say to this council and to the public and to Mr. Whittaker in particular in this administration, how dare you? How dare you? We're like the board of directors, the trustees of a multi-million-dollar corporation. How dare you walk away? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Maybe you know this council, and maybe they know you. I don't know you. And I don't think the majority of the public know you, but what you did was appalling. You come up here, you flip it, you condescending, and I don't know who you think you are. You didn't show up for budget hearings and finance meetings, and you're the chief financial officer. I'm going to paraphrase the charter, but every aspect of financial business, you ought to answer to the mayor and or the city council. With the way you acting, I'll make a motion to remove you for cause. That's about where I'm at. The whole of public hearing and remove you for cause. We didn't beg you to come here, and we ain't gonna beg you to stay. I'm not. And you lucky I only carried one vote. I've been under 3 different financial officers, and ain't now one of them act like you. I don't know who you think you are. And I don't know where you get the nerve to operate like that. I've been here for 9 years almost, and I've never seen a finance officer or a department head wave their hand and just walk off. To me, that rises to the level of cause. It's disrespectful, it's unprofessional, and who do you think you are? You can back there laugh and smirk, but I sure hope we get 5 votes. Because if we can't ask you, we sure can subpoena you. Ms. Winfrey Carter, I appreciate the second. I don't know with this council what they'll do, but I know that was outrageous. I know it was a little much. And I know them answers. He know more about that wind fund, in my opinion, than he's letting on. And then the walk off, because I don't want to send a referral like he asked me. I'm going to ask him questions. And I'd rather ask him under oath. I don't believe we have to go into investigative hearing mode to ask people under oath, but that's what they want to rule. So maybe some folks in their pocket. We might not get 5 votes, but then if we don't, he'll walk off in the void in financial information in a timely manner, I guess for as long as he's here. I want to know who he thinks he is. And is he remorseful? I doubt it very seriously, because I'm looking at his demeanor from up here as he whispers and try to say stuff with his hand up to his mouth to the people sitting around him. Mr. Whittaker, you're an embarrassment to the Neely administration. You're an embarrassment to this city. You are an embarrassment as the chief financial officer of this city. And I'm not proud of you. Yeah, who says it's going to be easy? We're going to scrutinize dollars. We're going to ask you about it. And now I'm going to see if we can do a little more than ask. We don't have to beg you. If that's how you're going to act, you can go home now. I'll be voting yes to try to subpoena and make this man answer multi-million-dollar questions.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
I've been asking questions for months, and I don't know any other way, and I hope, Mr. Whittaker, that we don't have to subpoena, but it appears that we have no other choice. As I was conferring with Councilman Pfeiffer, and when you stated you're not available, nor Mr. Edwards, I don't know if you will ever be available to answer these questions. I don't understand, or if you understand, how important it is when we talk about the wind funds and what this community went through. This community went through a lot. It still hasn't recovered. All service lines have not been replaced. There's almost 8,500 lines or restorations to be completed. There were 2,700, according to Mr. Brown, residents who declined to have their pipes looked at, and you flipped the council off. You flipped us off and walked away. That was disrespectful. It's disrespectful to not answer emails. It's disrespectful for the administration to sit back there giggling and laughing. That's where the cameras should be. You're laughing and giggling and conferring with each other. It's not funny, because there are projects that won't be able to be completed. Now, I know you may not appreciate the tone, but everyone knows what this city council is when you come to work for the city of Flint. You know that you're going to be asked some tough questions. People call us a resilient city. But to completely walk away and flip this council off, that was disrespectful. Through you, Madam Chair, I don't know if he's willing to come back up. I would like to know when you would be available, Mr. Whittigan. Do you have an available date? Can you come to the podium, please, sir?
Are you, for clarity?
Or through you?
For clarity, that question was a little confusing. Are you asking for him to come to
Well,
the podium
through you,
now?
Madam Chair, can Mr. Whittigan please come forward?
Okay. Mr. Whittigan? While he's coming to the podium, I do just briefly want to remind the council that whether we agree with people or not, to remember our decorum and our respect for each other and for the administration, regardless if we agree with them or not. Mr. Whittigan, Ms. Burns.
I would first like to clarify that I did not flip the council off.
What was that? And
Second,
I'm always fair to you.
Second, I will look at my schedule and confer with Mr. Edwards. He's not here. He's out of town until I think Thursday.
Okay.
So I can't answer for when we will both be available.
Okay, so Councilman Pfeiffer, there was a meeting to be scheduled for Wednesday, so both of you are not available. But when you walked down there, you did do.
Also, it
I
would
don't
be
know
really
what-
helpful if you have WIN funding questions like Mr. or Councilman Murphy has, to let us know either in email or let me know at the meeting what you would like to see in the future, and it would help me prepare all the reports you need. But for you to just have a special meeting and for me to show up, without questions in advance, the meeting's a waste of all of your time because I need to look this up.
Okay, and in all fairness, I have asked for WIN fund questions for months. I do believe I have like one spreadsheet. I'd have to look at my email, but they have not been answered. And it was in regards to the funds, what's available, the restorations.
Well, I'll say this on the
Also, I
record
spoke
too.
to Eric Polk.
If you send an email and you don't feel you've been responded to, please resend it to me and Mr. Edwards, and we will be sure to answer it.
Okay, so what we would like to do is to have a meeting with you so that the questions can be answered. I mean, we owe that to the public. I mean, you're a city official. I mean, if we have to be accountable, you too have to be accountable. And there are questions I believe most of my colleagues still do have in regards to the WIN funds, as well as myself. So we need to pick a date. So next week, what's good for you?
Again, I would have to work with Mr. Edwards to
You'd have to
get
work
you-
with
yeah.
Mr. Edwards. Okay. So do you need me to send you an email or Councilman Pfeiffer to send an email for availability?
I believe Clerk Brown had emailed right before this meeting, so Edwards and I will get together and figure out a date.
Okay. So our special meeting will not happen Wednesday because of availability.
Correct.
The flipping off, what do you call that? I call it flipping off, or a shut
Okay.
up, or tell me what it was. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's fine. So if you have questions, though, and you email them, we would be happy to
Not
get
talking
those
about
replied.
that. I'm talking about
Okay.
what was that?
I am moving on, so whatever.
I'm not.
I'm done.
We will consider it a gesture.
No, excuse me, Madam Chair. I was asking him that question. He needs to answer that because that was to the people and to the residents.
Respectfully, Ms. Burns, I do think that it was just a gesture of exasperation.
Okay, well, I disagree, and it was a disrespectful gesture.
as I
I get
stated.
what the gesture was,
Okay.
and I get probably your frustration, but you still have to answer the questions, and we don't do a like contest in here, unfortunately. And the WIN funds, no one has answered. The meeting for Wednesday will not happen. There was proper notice that was
I was
offered.
not notified of any meeting on Wednesday
So
until
you're stating that the
3 o'clock or
administration-
4 o'clock.
I'm sorry?
I was not notified of any meeting on Wednesday until about 3 or 4 o'clock today.
So you didn't get any communication?
Correct. That is absolutely correct.
Well,
You can check my emails. I have until 3 o'clock today, I did not know of any meeting on Wednesday.
so you requested this last week, though. So this was requested last week.
Again,
Okay, so before we have the meeting, you want us to have our questions or majority of the questions. To
Right.
give like
It
a
would-
consensus.
It's going to make your time more useful.
Okay, and I agree with that part, you know, a consensus. So the majority, 'cause it won't be every question, but you want the majority
I
of
understand
questions.
that, yeah, right.
So that you'll be able to answer them. So you will get with the Clerk Brown to
Correct.
a date that is available so that we can answer questions. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the first round? In the first round? Final call in the first round? In the second round, is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Mays.
Not so much questions, but statements. That's the same chief financial officer who did not show for the budget meetings. I've never seen it before. That's the same chief financial officer who, I guess he want folk to beg him and make appointments and communicate a certain way. What he doing is very disrespectful. This council can buy into it. I'm not buying it. When we have pressing business dealing with multi-million-dollar accounts, and I'm going to tell you why it's pressing, because we heading into July. This conversation about wind funds has to do with restoration. Restoration of folks' property that's been sitting for 2 years since Mr. Neely, and I don't know how long he's been in place. People want sidewalks, streets fixed that was tore up during pipe replacement. This has to do with when bids are put out. This has to do with the proper rearranging of money from one project to another. Now, they done stood up here, it's on record, Mr. Whittick and them talking about how important this is. But when it come down to the council and the importance of updating and giving information to the council, it don't seem to be that important. Because if I'm the chief financial officer and the council control the purse strings, I'm gonna pay attention to them. But this council has proved to me through the budget, they've proven to me now that they can sucker this council out of 5 votes to pull the purse strings. They'll call them down individually. They'll count to 5, and they're arrogant now. We can get 5 of them suckers. The hell with Mays. Let me say this. The wind funds, in my opinion, need to be reconsidered. That revolving loan fund to borrow money, Mr. Murphy say the water go up. All the bill will go up. All of that is important. And this guy is flipping. The chief financial officer is flipping. He don't need Clyde Edwards to be here for him to make an appearance. I can almost bet you, if you gonna rearrange the wind funds, you done had some conversation with the state of Michigan. He done had conversation. If they proposing reallocating wind funds, Mr. Murphy, as you look, I bet you he done had conversation with the state. He know whether the council can reconsider. He know whether he can move it from one project to another. But not only that, the conversation gonna come up, Mr. Woodson, about Lang and Goyette. See, Goyette had the contract. Restoration should be done. But Goyette got $1 million to settle something that we don't even hadn't approved. It's some problems there. It's some problems with reimbursement on stuff that might have been done wrong. This ain't a conversation that should be put off and folks flip it, talking about, I can't show up, send me an email. You can get an answer to one question and have another question after that. Oh, well, you didn't ask me that question in an email. From talking to him today and the questions that I asked, I believe, I don't want to call him a liar, but I believe he already done had conversation with the state. Ain't no way you gonna be in the middle of these wind funds and don't know whether or not you gotta come to council to reallocate and move money around. I just find that very, very, very hard to believe. I don't know if I can count to 5. I don't have to make appointments to do stuff in a timely manner. Sometimes you have to subpoena folks and get the business of the city done.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion
Yes.
in the second round? Mr. Murphy?
Yes. I think one of my colleagues, I'm not sure who requested this, to see how many people in our wards had restoration that they still was needing to get done. I know I've been getting calls in my ward of residents that have not got their sidewalks done. So through you to the clerk, I would like to do a referral to see if myself and my colleagues could get a list of all of the addresses in their ward. If they can't do it by ward, if they could just give us a list, and maybe we could just go through them to see how many residents in our ward that is yet to have their yards, sidewalks, or street restored, so that we can either touch bases with them, like, yeah, your address is on the list. So, for example, a resident called me and said she's still waiting to get her yard restored. If we had that list, I can look on the list to see if that resident address is on the list of yet to be finished, or did we miss that resident? So I would like to have that done, and after that, that's it for me. But for those in the third ward, and we still trying to figure out where the money coming from, how it's going to get paid, and when it's yet to get done. So I know a lot of residents wondering when. If one of my colleagues got the answer of when are we projected for these residents to get their yards or sidewalks or street restored, I'm not sure. But if someone have the answer to it, or the administration have the answer, please let us know so that we can relay this information to the residents that's calling us, because they calling and they want some answers and they frustrated. And they said they've been kicking the can down the road for a long time, telling them they go get to it, they go get to it, they go get to it. We need to figure out when they're going to get to it. That's it.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the second round?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns and then Mr. Pfeiffer.
me first.
Yeah, Ms.
Oh, I didn't
Burns.
see you had your-
Ms.
Okay, I
Burns,
didn't
then
see
Mr.
him.
Pfeiffer.
Okay. Through you to Mike Brown.
Mr. Mike Brown, can you come forward, please?
Mr. Brown, I know you're approaching, and our wonderful acoustics share everything that people say in the chambers. I requested that list. Where are we at on getting the list?
I had asked for it on Thursday. I haven't gotten it yet from our engineering group. Hopefully they're putting it together. Okay, try that again. I have set out a request on Thursday after the meeting, Thursday morning, and I'm hoping they're having that put together and making sure that they have everything in it as was asked. We will, as I said, we probably won't be able to put it to wards, but it will be to hopefully all the streets and
Right.
street names.
So you are working on honoring our request then, so we should have that, which will give us the complete list, which I mean, we all pretty much, we know our streets. I know the streets in my ward. So that list, so we're looking to have, what was the date, or when would you have it by?
I can't tell you that because we're getting it from our contractor.
Okay,
So I'm hoping soon. That's all I can say.
so as soon.
Within a week at worst.
Okay. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Thank you. I'm not sure, yeah, you're good. I guess I'm not sure the scope of what the motion is because I guess I understand it, but this problem goes across multiple administrations. So I'm not sure. Like Mr. Whittigan, even though, you know, his attitude today was definitely disappointing, he's only been here for 6-8 months. So it's even more disappointing that the attitude was displayed for being here that minimum amount of time. I think the residents deserve better, whether or not it was, and I understand the frustration, it definitely was not called for. I mean, this is serious business when we're talking about potential $12 million tax on the backs of residents that are already broke. And I'm pretty sure you live in Lansing and not here, so it really doesn't matter to you, but it matters to the people in our community. I think that a conversation needs to be had about what happened this evening, that's for sure. But in regards to the wind funds, I'm not sure what an investigation hearing would say because it's just going to, well, it was like that when I got here. And it might be, while I'm not necessarily saying it doesn't need to happen, I'm
Point
more
of
along the,
information.
What's your point?
Through you to the speaker, it might require subpoenaing people from the state of Michigan, like Eric Pocan and others, if they don't know. It might be necessary, it might not, but we can't stand for people walking away from us, can we?
it might come down to what Mr. Murphy said about we maybe need a forensic audit, where we might need to determine why we are so upside down on these registrations. It may come down to why did we spend so much money on pipe replacements that still aren't done? Did we overpay contractors? Did we pay contractors 2-3 times for the same house? Why are we so upside down? Was the bid process correct? Were people paid more than what they bid? That's the type of information we need to know. And I'm not sure that we would be able to get all that information with just having a hearing. I think we need, and I'm seriously thinking about whether we need a forensic audit to know the discrepancies, but I'm not sure about another hearing. The previous hearing didn't go so well. And I'll wrap up just saying that the community deserves better. I'll say this till I die, that hopefully we can, and Madam Chair mentioned the decorum. We need decorum from the administration as well. They need to be at a higher bar if they expect us to be at a higher bar. We need to constantly be encouraging them to be better. They need to encourage us to be better, back and forth until the cows come home. I'll say that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
I just want to clear up what a forensic audit is, and a forensic audit is not going to solve the issues. I think forensic audit has become the new term.
Is your mic on?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not close enough. Anyways, forensic audit has become the new term for investigating possible fraud type situations. I don't think that we're claiming fraud here. I think what we need is an audit, a regular audit. However, the question in my mind on the wind funds is, and my understanding, I could be wrong, Mr. Woodson, is that we billed the state for the money. And so we didn't have custody of the money. So we can't even do an audit on our books and our records except to see what was spent on our end and submitted to the state. And outside of that, on our end, I don't see what we can do audit-wise. And that's just for clarification to this body, because I've heard 2 people now request for forensic audits, and that isn't something that can be done or is appropriate in this situation.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Okay, then I will take the time to briefly say I will not be supporting this. I will support an audit, but I don't think that there needs to be an investigative hearing, especially one that was requested so quickly. Okay, so that brings us to the vote on the motion to investigate, excuse me, let me start that over. This brings us to the vote on the motion to initiate an investigative hearing on the wind funds. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Ms. Priestley?
No?
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
No.
The vote is 3 yes, 5 no.
The vote is 3 yes, 5 no. That motion.
Madam Chair.
Heard Mr. Murphy first and then Mr.
Madam
Mays.
Chair, I'll make a motion that we do an audit in the wind funds.
Madam Chair.
Hang on. Motion to initiate an audit. Mr. Murphy, motion to initiate an audit?
Yes.
Okay. And then, Ms. Burns, I'm assuming you're seconding?
Yes, I support that.
Yes.
Hang on. So it's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Murphy, then Mr. Mays.
Yes. I think we have talked about this a lot. We already agreed that we didn't do the investigating hearing, but we need to figure out where the money is sent. I don't want to beat this horse to death because we done already talked about it a lot. But I'll just support this audit and see where it goes from here.
Okay. Mr. Mays?
Yeah, Madam Chair. The audit is fine, but that audit gonna come from the state of Michigan. You're gonna have to politely request that Eric Pocan and all them people from the state come down. One of them was on the podcast with Mr. Woods and them the other day answering questions, and it's still posted to see. So it ain't like you're doing an audit of our funds. You got to request the state to come down. And if they don't come down, then you have to do just like the Senate, the people in Lansing. This council think it's a bad word to investigate. This council, the majority didn't even show up for budget meetings. And that was our money. We didn't even have a quorum. So this council want to be council, but they don't want to hold hearings like the Senate in Washington. They don't want to hold hearings like they do in Lansing, like every legislative body. An audit. Who gonna do the audit? You gonna hire an accounting firm? Is the state gonna let you in their books? Is Whittigan gonna walk away and be flippant? I want to hear the mechanics of this audit. You audit in the state books, what's been spent, what's been reimbursed. These ain't all our books. This audit would have to be conversation with the state of Michigan. You nod, you agree, Mr. Woodson? I hear folks talking. I hear folks being sharp and intelligent, but I'm just being common sense. When you see an administrator, a chief financial officer, flippant, condescending, don't give a doggone, I almost said, don't give a, I'm gonna leave it like that. That's a problem. That's a major problem. Now I want to see y'all audit the state books. You might want to start by politely asking them to come down to a meeting. I done had Senator Antoinette come to a meeting, Congressman Kildee, here y'all finna pass a motion to audit the state books. Y'all some bad son of a guns. You hardly want to audit your own books. It's easy, let's just, we don't want to talk to folks. We don't care if they walk away. We'll just do an audit. Can you audit my books? How you know you can audit the state books? I'm curious. This council don't really understand the power of their investigative hearing. They don't understand subpoena power. You can keep requesting and asking. Sometimes you have to use subpoenas. That's how America works. That's how America works. It ain't a bad, nasty thing. You're killing the messenger. Okay, we'll vote for the audit. In the meantime, while we go through the audit, we'll see if people get their pipes fixed. That's been sitting there for 2 and 3 years. We'll see how long the audit takes. Now you got the information on the audit. Have you moved the wind funds around? Have you allocated money for pipe replacement? We got an audit. It'll be done in the next 30 days. August, September, October, then the asphalt plant will close. This man will continue to be flippant. Y'all sending a wrong message to these folks and letting them get away with too much. Ain't nobody working for this city should be like that, particularly not the chief financial officer. Let him call the state. Let him get stuff from the state. Well, I'm gonna say good luck to you. I ain't gonna treat you bad. I just want you to have learning experiences. The state done kept some books. All you gotta do is I don't know if you can get them through freedom of information request, subpoena, whatever, but y'all finna audit the state's books. God bless you.
Thank you. Ms. Priestley, you wanted the floor?
Yes. Okay. We can't audit the state books. It's not our role. We can do an internal audit of our processes, how we've spent the money, go look at the bills. We can hire an outside auditor to do that task. But that's a totally different audit with a different scope than a traditional audit. So I guess we have to overlook the entire project. What happened? We need to know where those monies are. How much did we bill? We should have records of those here. Mr. Whittigan, from back there, do we have an internal auditor on staff? Thank you. So we would have to hire one from outside. For those at home, he said no. So we would have to hire someone from the outside to audit our records. Not the state's, our records. And it's not financial records. It's the bills, the lines replaced. How much should we have billed? How much did we bill? That's what we need. an audit is not the appropriate thing to do, as you are calling it, or as you want it, yeah. So what we need is an internal audit of the processes. Well, we can, but as I said, this is what we need down here, and so I think that this motion is not a proper one to be made. Thank you.
Madam
Okay,
Chair,
is there, Mr. Pfeiffer?
I would say an audit is what we need because we do need an outside independent verification of of financial documents. And I don't know that we have to dig into the state because we're getting reimbursed from the state. So we should know what money we got from the state and what money we requested. And we need verification from what are on those contractor invoices to see if they're all lining up and see if there's a discrepancy of we paid 5 times for one address. I think that in discrepancy of if we were billed for addresses that don't exist. And I think there does need to be an internal audit or an audit by an outside company to get to the true statement or to the true facts. So I will be supporting this, but I think that it needs to be an outside company to go over the documents, similar to our audit that we have. I can't remember the name. Starts with an R that did our Raymond. So I wouldn't be opposed to having them come in and audit that account, because I would like to know if we paid for addresses that don't exist. I would like to know if we paid for, multiple times on the same address. I know that I was out doing my blight drive, because I do a blight drive to go around and write down blight complaints myself, because I never see my blight officer. So that I do that, and I bring that up because I ran into somebody from Rowe that was out doing the restoration survey or whatever to see what it is. And he was at an address that wasn't on his list. He just happened to drive by. So the list that they're going by on the restorations that have to happen, there's restorations that they don't have on the list that need to happen. So something is totally askew. We need to get to the bottom of it. And do I know all the right answers to ask? No. Do I believe that collectively we can? Possibly. But I would prefer if an outside contractor came in and looked at everything with the fine-tooth comb. So I think that's where I'm at, because we can keep beating a dead horse and have a question after question, and whether or not we submit the right question to get the right answer, I think let's get down to ground zero and get a audit of where we're at and how we got there. That's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Second round, is there any discussion? Second round, Ms. Priestley.
I'd like to make an amended motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make an amended motion to hire an outside company to do an internal audit on the processes of what happened during the water restoration in regards to the wind funds.
An outside company to perform a what?
An audit on the records of the water restorations in regards to the wind funds.
Water restorations. I can't type today. Okay.
That would be the scope of their engagement.
All right, let me reread this, make sure I got it. So the amended motion is to hire an outside company to perform an audit on the records of the water restorations in regards to the wind funds.
Yes.
Jeez. Okay. Is there a second?
Point of order.
What's your point?
Madam Chair, we're getting a lot of noise and stuff. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of things too. Okay, so the amended motion was to hire an outside company to perform an audit on the records of water restorations in regards to the wind funds. It has not yet been seconded. Is there a second?
I'll support that.
Okay, it's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion?
Say, Madam Chair.
Right now?
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Mays.
Let me say this to the council and to the public, and I'll take a risk. I'll take this risk. The charter gives us the opportunity to audit once a year during the budget process. I don't know if it's language in the charter that just give us arbitrary audits. I don't know. And I don't know if this council knows, because I know a lot. And I'm going to say this, if you can't get a man to stand and answer questions, you think you can vote and have him open their books? That's why I said you got to do an investigative hearing. Now here they voting on air again. They didn't say do all things necessary. They just think you can vote without a resolution or an ordinance, and that's an action of a council. I don't think so. I think when you ain't got paperwork, you vote to do all things necessary. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the charter then allows the mayor so many days to veto. And then it takes a number of votes to override a veto. See, I don't like to play city council. I'm a real city council person. And I'm a stickler for procedure and law because that's what this world operates out of. You can leave this council meeting thinking you done did something. You ain't did nothing but vote on air. Ain't no action taken. The charter is clear. You need a resolution. You need paperwork. Or you better say, I'm voting to do all things necessary. Because if you don't, when that resolution is printed up by legal and or the council office, you still got to come back and vote on it. So I ain't playing council person. I don't even know if they'll cooperate with an audit, because what makes them? You better understand your subpoena power and what you want to look at their books for. AECOM left out of here with records. They don't even know some of the stuff. You audited half of the records. You audited them, and y'all proud. And it's going to take you trying to get them to cooperate, actually doing the audit. The summer will be over. Y'all living in a council fantasy world to me. I subpoena folks, and if they lie to you, they committing perjury. These folks will come up here and hoodwink and bamboozle you. I've been listening to it. Done told you what you can and can't do, what resolutions you can and can't bring. Folks having a ball. Let's not play council people, let's be council people. Let's not let legal and others catch you up on technicalities. I didn't know. Esther, through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Whitaker. Now, I don't even want to call him up. Y'all call him up. And then, Mr. Whitaker, can you? And then ask him, is he going to open up the books and cooperate? Well, I'll have to talk to Mr. Neely and Clyde Edwards. We don't have all the records. AECOM left with records. We've got part of them. Just tripping. Y'all feeling good in these council seats, but you're living in a fantasy world somewhat to me. And guess who suffer? The residents. Hundreds and thousands of residents, because folks believe they done arrived as council folks. And the administration running circles around it. So I'm going to say right now, I ain't trying to be funny with nobody. I just done had experiences. I believe it. And y'all acting, and it ain't based in law. It sure ain't based in a written resolution. And I'm telling you, when folks don't cooperate, that's when you subpoena. and you get folks to do stuff. Y'all hoping. I already know for a fact you're going to audit incomplete records. Because AECOM, when they got kicked out, they wasn't studying transferring records. You might should subpoena them. I know what done happened. Y'all living in my mind in a fantasy world. It sounds good, but you don't know all the details of what you're talking about, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Final call, is there any other discussion? The second round, is there any discussion? Seeing no one move, that brings us down to the vote on the amended motion to hire an outside company to perform an audit on the records of the water restorations in regards to the wind funds. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
The vote is 5 yes, 2 no.
The vote is 5 yes, 2 no. That motion passes.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Pfeiffer.
I move to adjourn.
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn. Is there a
Support.
second? It's been moved and properly supported. There is no discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 1 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 1 no. It is 8:45. Special Affairs is adjourned. Let's get dinner and be back here by 9. Does that work for everyone?
Where's that at?
9:06 on Monday, June 27th. I hereby call this meeting of the Flint City Council to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Murphy.
Present.
Ms. Priestley. Present. Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Present.
Ms. Herkeroder.
Present.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Present.
Ms. Worthen.
Present.
You have 6 members present.
Thank you. We have 6 members present. Mr. Murphy, do you care to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we do the blessing for this evening's meeting, are there any members of the council who would like to recognize those who have lost their lives?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
I would like to have a moment of silent prayer for the family of Mr. Barry Williams, the family of Bishop Rory Cavett, the family of Mr. Dwayne Miller, and the family of Miss Espria Griffin, and all of the bereaved families throughout the city. Please continue to pray for the Brown and Bradley family who lost their lives to a fire, the whole family there. And that's all I have for now, ma'am.
Thank you. Are there any others?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns.
Mrs. Bully Bullock lost her life this past Friday, sadly, so condolences for her family. We can get a moment of silence. She served her community well. She was a public school teacher.
Are there any other?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Are there any others? Okay. We'll stand for the moment of silence, and then Ms. Priestley, if you don't mind giving the blessing after. Thank you. Ms. Priestley? You can sit. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessing on this meeting tonight, and that we remember that you put us here to do the work of your people. You are the one who sees all and knows all. You know our hearts, and you know our minds. And Lord, we ask that we listen to you as we try to make the best decisions for the city that we possibly can. In your name, amen.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us down to the disorderly person city code subsection. Any person that persists in disrupting this meeting will be in violation of Flint City Code Section 3110, disorderly conduct, assault and battery, and disorderly persons, and will be subject to arrest for a misdemeanor. Any person who prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of any meeting will be given one warning. If they persist in disrupting the meeting, that individual will be subject to arrest. Violators shall be removed from the meetings. Is there any request for changes or additions to the agenda? Okay. Seeing none, it looks like we don't have any minutes. There's no public hearings. That brings us down to public speaking. Okay, our clerk is going to go grab the slips for public speaking. As a reminder, if you are speaking before the whole council, there's a box in the back to fill out your speaker slip. We'll make sure that we get you recognized. And when you come up here, please just remember to state your name for the record. We need that jazz that Paul was playing earlier in between while we're waiting. Oops, Janelle, can you grab Miss Geraldine's too, please? All right. Ms. Donahue, who is our first public speaker?
First public speaker is Alexis Irby.
She's not here.
Next speaker will be Ariel Mitchell.
I'm R.L. Mitchell. And through you, Madam Chair, through Judy Priestley, about the Winfield situation, money, everybody in Flint knows that the mayor used that Winfield money to tear down them old houses in Flint. In 2024, he attempted to have every last one of them cleared out of Flint. And you know good and well where that Winfield money is going, but you spoke about that grass situation to the east, the north, and the west. I want you to know, since I moved in my house on Linden Street, Linden Avenue in Flint, it was 2 vacant houses on the side of me. I always go over there just to get off, to chill out, but the window was open, I started to go in, but it was brand new clothes in it. And I decided not to go in. I just cut the grass behind it, and both sides, when the landlord saw me doing that, he decided to tear both houses down. And everywhere I move back farther in my yard, and I noticed everywhere I be chilling out, he come and cut the grass, and now my whole yard look like a golf course. And I wonder if he be getting paid like you say you should be paying people, because y'all don't pay Mr. Brown, and he didn't want to say where the money going because he got 2 contractors, and I might as well be Mr. Brown, pocketing the money like the land bank person back there. Oh, I can't call her name. She said, keep her name out of my mouth. Because you making you a financial woman with all that money, and you're making Murphy, my councilman, look like a wimp with that St. John area over there like you don't know what to do, and let people bought the buried property, it killed deer, or taking a rap for it and all that stuff, and you sitting there letting in the city attorney like you can't answer questions, and making the man with the money do the flip wave like he don't give a care because he knucklehead. I mean, the mayor downstairs, that's a new name the public got for him because he don't want to give him, anyway, I want you to respond. Oh, yeah. Okay, respond to me back at the school teacher. You say you were going to respond to that dead end street over on Tacoma Street, 1505, my daddy property, before Miss, what's her name, take over and pocket the money again. I can't call her name out. You know what I'm talking about. Like that dude back there. I can look at her. Oh, she left the building. Her name is, can't think of her name now. I mean, anyway, and about that fireman department, talk about all clear on Black, that's in my neighborhood too. He killing people, and got the wonder fireman Mac look like you.
Okay. Thank
you. That's my time is up. That's up.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Ms. Donahue.
Our next speaker is Arthur Woodson.
All right. I'm going to say it again. Arthur Woodson. I'm going to say it again. The audit isn't going to be good for the WIN funds because it's a reimbursement. The city has to pay the company through invoices. The city sends the invoices down to the state, and they send the money back to the city. What you got to look at is how much money has the city paid out that has not been reimbursed from the state to the city. When Mayor Weaver was in office, the state put a limit on how much service lines could be, which was $5,000. That's how much it was. But after 2020, it went up to service lines being $9,000 and some odd dollars. It's not the previous administration, it's this administration. I wish my council person would have asked questions when I brought it up. I tried to text her and call her to try to give her this information. Whittigan is lying, straight up lying, because Brooks and Mike Harris, who are in enforcement for EPA, are in confidential talks with the city right now on EPA emergency orders. And what they are trying to do is enforce you to get the water loan, the water revolving loan, so that they can hurry up and leave up out of here so they can say all clear. Quit falling for the banana in the tailpipe. If you want to know how much money is in the wind funds, I'm going to say it again. Eric Oswald and Eric Pocan, they know how much it is. They are going back and forth right now with the city because the city says it's one thing and the state says it's another. They will not tell you how much it is. When they had the water forum online, I asked a question. They cut the meeting. It's supposed to have been a 2-hour meeting. They cut the meeting 45 minutes. What is the total of the wind funds? I've been asking this question since you all been in office. How much total wind fund money is left? Ms. Lewis, you know, if you drive down Stewart Street, you see potholes. I spent $137 for road restoration to put seeds, $97 for seeds, and $30-something for weed and feed. I shouldn't have had to pay for that. I shouldn't have had to pay for that. Road restoration hasn't been done since 2019, since Mayor Neely been in office. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Latalis Penton.
Good evening, Honorary Council. I'm Latalis Penton Jr. I'm the board president for the House of Esther and also a spokesperson for the Encounter Group, which is a group of pastors and parishioners from Flint and Genesee County. You see some of them are here today. I want to commend you on what the progress that we've made in terms of getting us the time to establish the House of Esther. And I want to encourage you to continue to do whatever you can to make sure that this project is viable in the near future. And we have everything in place. We just need for the administration to cooperate. And I just want you to understand that there are people that are involved that you have a chance, that you can be instrumental in making this happen. You can be instrumental in helping perhaps a great individual or great individuals to live and flourish in this community. Now is the time we really need to help the young women that have decided and have to keep their children and raise their children and give them a place where they can do it and be very successful and get their education, get employment, get all of the things that they need so that these people can come up in an environment. You never know what greatness you're creating by helping people. But I just want to keep that on your mind. We'll be here, we'll be visible, and we just want to encourage you to do whatever you can to promote a milestone in the city of Flint, to establish that milestone, to help the people come together. Kettering is waiting, University of Michigan, all of these different institutions, Hamilton Family Health Center, all of these community organizations are ready to go to work for the city of Flint. This is something that will will be that will be a milestone for everybody on this council. And I just want to commend you for the work that you've already done and encourage you to continue to fight for this to be established. Amen.
Thank you. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Amy Rose. Amy Rose.
I don't see anyone.
Next speaker is Audrey Muhammad.
No, she's not here.
Next speaker is Rich Jones. Next speaker is Mike Patterson.
I'm Mike Patterson. I don't currently reside in Flint, but I have been Lowell Junior High, Central High School, University of Michigan, Flint, left Flint for a while and moved back to Flint area, but living in a house out in Mount Morris that our parents had owned. But I'm deeply involved with anything going on in Flint. The Encounter Group was mentioned before. We're a group of pastors that get together on Thursdays at Golden Corral for prayer and for asking people what we need to do in the neighborhood. And we invite anybody to come by. Tonya has been by a few times to visit with us, and any of the council members are welcome to join us at any time. Okay, I'm also involved with the Heart of Flint ministry. And this past weekend, we had an event in the Amos Park in the east side of Flint. And we had over 500 hamburgers and hot dogs passed out, so we had a lot of people there. And we handed out clothes, shoes, all kinds of things to help out the neighborhood. So we're involved with Flint. We want to be helping Flint any way we can. And I support House of Esther. And I thank all of you for passing the resolution to give us the 90 days. But the question I have is, what's next? What do we have to do to get to the next step to get through it? You know, what is it, something we need to do? Let us know. If there's something we can do to help you and what you need to do, let us know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Eddie Dombrowski.
Good evening. My name is Eddie Dombrowski, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to the council tonight. And I've been listening for a few weeks about what's going on with this Esther House. I'm just being brought up to speed, and it appears to me that this is a project that the city would benefit from, that the people would benefit from, that the mothers-to-be would benefit from. You know, we just gave a pledge to the flag that we would provide liberty and justice for all. That includes mothers-to-be. We're to provide love for them, justice for them, liberty for them. So I would encourage the council to take stock of what they're really all about. This city is about, you know, love. We want to love our brothers. If there's no love, no unity, you don't have a city. So I would encourage the council to come together in agreement and allow this Esther House to move forward, and encourage the council to vote on it, a resolution that it would move. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Reverend Lawrence. I cannot read your writing.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's me. Good evening, Council. Thank you again for that 90-day.
Can you state your name for the record?
Yes, Reverend Lawrence Ladell Sifa. I'm with Cities of Hope Ministry, and we do a podcast from the east side of Flint on Oklahoma there, All Points TV, John Wilson and Steve Myers. And that's every Tuesday from 11 to 12 o'clock. Many times we talk about issues of the city of Flint, the county of Genesee, which we prefer to call it the county of Genesis, because we believe that God is going to start a largest end-time revival in the history of the world in this great city of Flint, Michigan. And people are going to come here from all over the world. I mentioned many times on our program. I do it with Wayne Tierney. We co-host the show together. That someday you'll say, I wish I could afford a home in the city of Flint. And the reason being is because Flint is a great city. It established many great things, not just here in the state of Michigan or county of Genesee, or the country, but throughout the world. There are people that have came here and established their residency. I happen to have been born here. My mother came here some 68 years ago, and I was born at St. Joe Hospital from a country called Lebanon. And the reason being is that my father, Nassib Joseph Sifa, his brother-in-law was Larry Hamady, and they were in the food business. And something about a guy by the name of Billy Durant that was building cars and put Flint on the map, as you all know. But we need to thank you for what you've done, and just like what was mentioned by a brother of mine in Christ, Mike, what is the next step? What is the next step that needs to have happen for the House of Esther? I think it's a wonderful thing. I think you'll be all blessed, not just the people of the city of Flint or Genesee County, but also each of you will be blessed, your families, by what you're doing, something that is a godly thing, and preserving life. And these girls are, I've been told, have to agree to parenting and not abortion. And the thing is, life is very fragile, very important. And all of us were in a woman's womb at one time. And that's should be a very safe place. And thank God that the mother of all of us believed in the sanctity of life rather than abortion, and cared about parenting. We would not be here if it wasn't for our mothers, fathers, maybe an auntie or grandmother praying for us. And many of you didn't know that you were going to be where you are for that. But please let us know what the next step is.
Thank you. Yep,
And
your
thank
time
you.
is up.
Yes, all right.
Next speaker.
Next speaker is Joe King.
I'm not seeing anybody. Oh,
Joe King.
King.
Afternoon, Council. My name is Joe King. Some of you probably know me. I'm here tonight because I was watching your committee meeting this past Wednesday, and I think it's sad when at North End people come up and they get so much. It's so hard for them to get anything. Now, those gentlemen come in here, and I've worked Saginaw Street for years. Ms. Towns, Ms. Milton, and Ms. Price, Ms. Cabot, and all of those people that worked so hard up there for years, mentoring me. They wouldn't be happy knowing that when people, I've noticed anyone come up here from this North End, they have investment. They've been out there working. They're always doing something in the community. But when they come and get something, you always want something from them. That area up there, those gentlemen, they're picking up stuff up there. The people's up there not picking it up. They didn't do it when we was working it. All those buildings in that area is tore down. Buildings are falling down, a couple of them right across the street and right down the street. Probably got somebody up under them. We don't know it. But anyone want to come up in there and want to do something, they want to build something, the neighborhood, maybe to get a real some pride up there to do something that they're not doing now. You should have gave them. It was a junkyard they took off over there. They cleaned up a junkyard. They had already done something for the community. And how the land bank was able to sell them property and with taxes on them and water bill on them, I don't know. You can't do that. And how they came up here in the city, they didn't already know that those bills was on to sell them. I don't understand it. It should never happen. It should never happen. I've noticed these gentlemen here speaking up there, that old thing, Agner building. They sit up there and cut that grass for the last 3 or 4 years. I drive by it every day, kept it up. Nobody was going to do that, but now they had to go through all of this. They should just gave it to them. And not have these people, they invest in their community, already have investment. I watch people come in here day after day in this council, sell them land, they don't ask for market value. You didn't ask for market value for St. John's Center when other people want it. And I'll wrap it up. We didn't ask for market value for the old farmer market. They didn't have to go through all of this. But it's time we just quit doing the north end the way we're doing when people want to invest. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
And the final speaker is Geraldine Redmond.
Ms. Geraldine.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone? I'm here from the Housing Commission, Flint Housing Commission. My name is Geraldine Redmond. I live at 3800 Richfield Road, apartment 408. On September the 27th, will you mark your calendars? It's a Tuesday for this year, September 27th. I would like representation from this council of all of you to come for our annual meeting. This meeting consists of all of our residents, our vendors, anyone that has done anything for housing. We just say thank you for being there. Allie, you have been there. And I would like to see representation from Flint City Council because Genesee County is there. There's other people there. You all get letters. We send them out every year, but no one from the city comes. Now the mayor comes, but I'm saying today, please mark your calendars. Come out, say hello to our residents, and see what they have done throughout the years with the vendors that are from the city of Flint, such as Hurley, such as Edible Flint. Some of the sites are always on the Edible Flint tour. When our site decided not to be on it one year, they wanted to cancel the tour because everyone was calling, where's Mintz Manor? Because when you come to that tour of our garden, you get a treat. You really get a treat. So tonight I'm asking you, did everybody mark it down? Because I'm going to send you an invitation of save the date for Tuesday, September the 27th, and it's going to be at 3800 Richfield Road at 5:30 p.m. Not a.m., p.m. That's on a Tuesday. So I'm not sure, because I didn't check the calendar to see if you were going to have any type of meeting that's already scheduled for that day, but everyone is invited. If you have someone that you would like to say thank you to, just give us a call. You can call the office. Mr. Ent's number is 810-736-3099. Normally, we have a speaker. Last year, we honored Councilperson Commissioner Nolden from Genesee County. The year before that, we honored Mayor Neely and State Representative Cynthia Neely. Before that, we have honored Mayor Weaver. We've even gone so far back as we had Dan Kildee, Dale Kildee. We've had a lot of people that have come out and supported the residents. So come out, have a good time, and we just want to say thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public speaking. Are there any members of council who wish to respond? Are there any members of council who wish to respond? Mr. Murphy.
Yes. I want to respond to Joe King. You came and you talked about the business over here coming to the north end, and Ernestine Towns and Catherine Price. I worked with them closely. Matter of fact, I used to write the grants for Ernestine over there at Ophelia Bonner Park. So she near and dear to my heart. I like the park over there. I think Brian Noel didn't keep that park up over there with Catherine Price. But one thing about me, when businesses come to the third ward, I just don't want businesses coming to Flint or come over and to the third ward, and hopefully you'll respect my position as the council person. I don't care what business come to Flint, whether it's a $2, $10, $5 business, a $300 million project. I've had meetings with the company that's proposing to come to the Buick City site, and I had discussion with them. I've had discussion with the import lot on Western Road. They trying to add some additional import lot at the old Shady Acres. So I ain't being discriminative on who I want to talk to when it comes down to what business comes to the third ward of the city of Flint. What I don't want to happen is the business to come to the third ward and then we just have business as usual and they get to come and do what they want to, and we don't have no kind of community benefits agreement. And I'm not saying we have to. I have always talked about it. I advocated about a community benefits agreement even when they wanted to do the marijuana dispensary on Boulevard Drive. I talked about a community benefits agreement. I talked about having a meeting. I am not interested in no kind of business, whoever they are, without coming and having a discussion and just sitting down and having a meeting with Councilman Murphy. That's just where I stand on that. So it may not be popular with a lot of people, but that is what it is.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of council who wish to respond? Ms. Priestley.
Geraldine, thank you so much for the time. I have band rehearsal on Tuesday nights, but as long as I can leave there by 6:45, I'll be there.
Oh, do they got food?
Sometimes.
Mr. Murphy wants to know if you're feeding people.
Are there any other members of council who wish to respond? Ms. Winfrey Carter, then Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Redmond, I will be there. I did mark it in my calendar. I know I did attend one year before. I know last year I didn't attend. I was invited. But I do have it in my calendar, so I'll be there. Thank you.
Mr. Redmond, sorry, just for order, we don't usually communicate with the public afterward. Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yeah, I just want to address the House of Esther. I think it's in your guys' court to come up with a solution with the administration. I was the one that offered up I think it was actually a 105-day extension. So you guys, it's in your court and the administration's court to work out a deal to bring before us. So that's where it's at. So what to do is to get with the administration and figure it out. Whatever that it is, I don't know, to figure it out with them and come up with some kind of agreement and then bring it back before us, hopefully before the end of the time frame. So that's where that's at. Mr. Woodson, I'd like to sit down sometime so that we can figure out, because there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of different stuff with the wind fund. So I know that you are deeply involved with all the aspects of it. So I do believe you have a lot to share with us that we might not know. So hopefully we can sit down and discuss that soon. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other members of council who wish to respond to the public?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Burns?
I want to thank you. I want to thank all of the public speakers. Miss Geraldine, I put that on I wrote it down. It's the day before my mother's birthday. So I will be there. And to Mr. Joe King, I appreciate I don't know if he can hear me, but I appreciate the conversation that he had and shared, because he's sharing information over a lifetime. And to the House of Esther, I appreciate you coming and not letting this die, and to show that you care, that this project means something. You sat through our special affairs meeting, which generally is supposed to last an hour, but we got into some other things. And it is now basically with the administration. You've complied, everything they've asked for with the House of Esther has been done. Now we need to have the administration do their part. I don't know how do we nudge that, but we're going to figure it out. And I'll send an email to Attorney Kim, because we need to have some progress. That property was maintained very well with the mowing. Now it looks like somebody's mowing it with a pair of scissors. And it's disgraceful, and some of that grass over there is tall. We could be having renovations going on. There's a donor. There's an investor. The investors have walked through the property. They know what they're getting into in the rehab. So now what we need to do is have the administration say, hey, you know what? We're not tying this up. We know that those 18 properties that we had to Shalon Street, that was sold. We know that we're working on the property on Saginaw Street. That's a lot. That was sold. We need to get up off of our high knees and get the House of Esther sold so we can get something done. There would be a waiting list for the House of Esther right now, because there's such a need for young mothers who are teen mothers who age out of the foster care system. I will get in contact with you. Thank you for coming, and please come every time, because we need to make sure your voices are heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of council who wish to respond? Mr. Mays?
Yeah, Madam Chair. Yeah, Madam Chair, to all the speakers, I say this real quick. I'm Geraldine. I was over in them apartments talking to residents last week. Been doing it for years, not only over off of Richfield and Center Road, but over in my area. We'll see what happens. Lord willing, I might be there and I might not. We'll see what happens. To the House of Esther, I remember when I met them, and I remember I had to try to get 5 votes to keep that property, which should have been maybe given to them in a quick turnaround. I don't like to see people politicize things, and I see some of that. I see people politicize, and the resolution that passed to do all things necessary, it needs to be some specific solutions. They need to fix that infrastructure and get water flowing properly. We need to agree and vote to sell it. And it's a couple other things. Talk is cheap. They've been talking and fooling with House of Esther and politicizing it for 4 or 5 years now. We'll see. Before the 90 days is up, once we clear some stuff out, I'll try to get resolutions drawn up, and we'll see if the mayor veto them. The council can do it, and if the mayor veto it, it can be overridden. I don't leave it with the administration. It's in my ward, it's in my area. I know more about it than most folks, but it's been a little political stuff in there too. I hate that. Mr. Woodson, you're right in my opinion as far as an audit. What Mr. Whittigan did was disrespectful to this council, disrespectful to the city of Flint, and I don't know if my colleagues get it. I don't know if they get it. We will have to do some things to be respected and to take care of the business of the city of Flint. I'm concerned in some areas that we're not. We're lacking leadership. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other member of council who wishes to respond? Going once? Going twice? Okay, I will say thank you very much, Mr. Eldine, for the invite. The annual meeting, it's a lot of fun from the ones that I've been to. So if you can make it, I would encourage you to go. And then also, most of the other things that I was going to respond to have also been responded to, so there's no need to beat a dead horse. So with that, council response is closed. Communications are on the agenda, and that brings us down to appointments. The chair will entertain a motion to approve appointment 220259, appointment for Building Code Board of Appeals, John R. Smith.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Final call, is there any discussion? Hearing none, that brings us on the vote to approve resolution, appointment 220259, Mr. John R. Smith to the appointment of the Building Code Board of Appeals. Roll call, please. Yes.
Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes is not in right now. Ms. Hergenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
The vote is 8 yes, 0 no.
Okay, the vote is 8 yes, 0 no. That brings us down to our reconsideration. The chair will entertain a motion to reconsider Resolution 220190.1.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Priestley?
I make a motion to reconsider resolution number 220190.1.
Okay, is there a second?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Worthing?
I second that.
It has been moved and properly supported. Please hold. I got to make sure if there's discussion on a reconsideration or not. Yes, okay, there is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Mays.
Yeah, Madam Chair. And Mr. King, I'm hearing what you said. I'll figure out a way to weave it in somewhere down the road as it relates to development on the north end, even in this reconsideration of block grant money and the way that works. I'm hearing you, and I'll address it some way or another. But as far as reconsideration of this consolidated plan, it said failed during the June 14th special council meeting. Mr. Neely and Suzanne Wilcox has failed this community. It needed to fail. You're talking about $5 million in block grant money. Council controlled the purse strings, and every year that I've been here, they brought it to council late, intentionally, on purpose. Well, I'm gonna retract that a little, Ms. Winfrey Carter. They called us that one year. Remember, we was on a conference call, and they said we could have input, and that didn't turn out to be true. But this year, I see a pattern. I see a pattern. And I see an intentional pattern, and I'm appalled. Ms. Wilcox should be ashamed of herself because we asked her to commit last year to getting this to us on time. But it's intentional because folks are making promises. Some of them are kept and some of them are false. Folks are campaigning with millions of dollars, and it's not in the best interest of the city of Flint. These block grant monies are to be distributed equitably and fairly among certain organizations. And this council has the right to review them, change them, or amend them. After a certain time, you can only amend it and change it 15%, where before that time period, you could do it 100%. This has been by design, it's intentional, and at some point, you have to put your foot down. If you don't, they'll treat you like Mr. Whittigan, no respect. No respect. And when you got council people that's political as well, they don't have to say it. I look at pictures, I look at press conferences, I see who stands in the background. You got folks on this council supporting wrongdoing of this mayor. They put more pride in hanging with this mayor than hanging with the people of the city of Flint. I believe people are smart. I believe people see it. I've been on 3 councils. I've seen the people vote and punish folks who act a certain way. This council has been sitting now November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, almost in July, 9 to 10 months. It don't take me long to figure stuff out. Our job is to do what's in the best interest of the people. House of Esther and 18 more properties deserve attention. Weeds, grass, and other things deserve attention. People who apply for this block grant money deserve attention. Have anybody on this council received a list of people who were rejected yet? Have you, through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Carter, have you, Winfrey Carter, have you received it yet?
No, I have not received.
We've
that
asked
list.
for it. Who was
We've asked for it.
rejected? Requests of council is repeatedly ignored, and people move on. The business of this city is fast-paced. If you think about it, have you really been here 8, 9 months? What have we really did? Ms. Lewis, I heard you say that you thought that we, according to our regular schedule, meet twice a month or something. That's not how I looked at it. Council should be on guard for special meetings. I always wish it was full-time. It's hard to function part-time, and it's hard to function when you ain't here. This is a fast-paced business, millions of dollars. I don't know if I'll vote to reconsider this. 6 votes, it'll be reconsidered. 6 votes, it'll pass. At some point, you got to send a message, and you got to fight for people. People want people to fight, stand up for them. They don't want people to be pushed over and pushed around and neglecting their concerns. Right now, from what I'm hearing as I move around the city, people are let down with this mayor, and they let down with certain council members, and they talking about it. We've got a job to do, and we should try to do it well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Murphy?
If I'm not mistaken, through you to the city attorney, is it allowable for us to make amendments in this budget here before we approve?
This, for order, this is the motion to reconsider.
I'm
So
not-
once, so we have to do 2, so we have to, if this
Point of
reconsideration,
order.
what's your point?
He said through you to the city attorney.
Okay, thank
I
you.
thought I could swear he said that.
Thank you. So we'll vote to reconsider, and then we'll go on to voting on the actual resolution itself. So it's a
Well,
two-part.
through you to the city attorney.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
What's your
You
point?
could ignore ruling on my point of order, but in fact, how you check folks and how you do and take the floor, he said through you to the city attorney. Do you disagree with my point of order?
Okay.
He didn't ask you for no explanation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mays. Mr. Murphy?
Thank you. Through you to the city attorney, will we be able to make any changes and amendments in this proposal, even if we reconsider it? Because I want to make some changes in the budget, line item budget. I want to move some money from somewhere and move it to another place. So is that allowable with this reconsideration, or do we reconsider and approve it as is?
As the chair explained, if you vote in favor of reconsideration, this would then come up, and then it would be like any other resolution. In terms of the specifics of making amendments, frankly, I don't know enough about the resolution in particular to know what the effects of any changes to it would be. But once you've reconsidered it, you can then deal with it as you would any other resolution that's before the body.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's it. That's all I want to know.
All right, is there any other discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Winfrey Carter.
And Councilman Murphy, to answer your question, I think that's the whole point. This was deliberate, the way that this was brought to us. And with that being said, I'm not gonna vote to reconsider this. I'm gonna vote no. I voted no last year because I do not agree with the process. And I asked for a list of the recommendations made by the citywide advisory committee. You know, we usually see what they recommended, and then it goes to the administration, and then council has a chance to make recommendations, and that did not happen. So I will not be supporting a reconsideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair?
I think that was Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yeah. We talk about all day long about money that we're going to miss out on, and whether or not we agree in total with and I do agree that they intentionally bring this stuff at the last minute. I will agree with that, 100%. But we're going to cut the nose off to spite our face. We need these funds, whether or not you agree in total. We do believe, good things should come out of this money. To not reconsider this and to leave these programs looking for funds, I think it's not good. There's a lot of people depending on this. So I will be voting to support it because this community needs money. And whether or not we agree with all of what the administration has brought before us, that's our job to hold them accountable. Holding them accountable is not depriving other people in these communities agreements or these block grants. Holding them hostage isn't holding the administration accountable. It's doing the opposite. You're hurting the community. So I will be voting to reconsider this, and then hopefully we can have a conversation whether or not we want to reallocate stuff or not. I think we have a duty to try to help the community out as much as possible by reconsidering this. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Worthing.
they turned this up, so it's like
Yeah.
shocking my own self. I agree with Mr. Pfeiffer, absolutely. It's not just this administration. It is every year since I've been here, which included Mayor Weaver. So it is definitely a feeling at some point with planning that we do not get this in time. So it's not an administration problem. It is a problem. I will agree. It is a problem. We've complained about this every year, 5th year now. But again, they need these funds and they will not get them if we do not pass them. And so maybe it will change. I don't know how to get it to change. But I would like to see it earlier in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Okay, I will speak in the first round. Yeah, I will definitely be supporting to reconsider this. Coming from a background in housing, I know how crucial these dollars are and how they're few and far between, especially for different agencies within the community. These dollars help change lives every single day. They help get people off the streets, they help get people a warm meal, and they help build people's capacity. So by not approving this, we indirectly tell the community that is currently experiencing homelessness that that we don't want to support them because all of these dollars go back to homeless services agencies. For example, the Shelter of Flint, Carriage Town Ministries, My Brother's Keeper, agencies that are doing really good in the community to help fight the homelessness problem that we have. I understand the concerns of my colleagues regarding the process. I'm a very big process person, we all know that. But I think that we owe it to ourselves and to our community to at least reconsider it and then go in and do different amendments as they come. But this is a crucial $4 million for our community and for those experiencing homelessness. Is there any discussion in the second round?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
Madam Chair, I'm hearing everything that's been said, but I'm going to emphasize this is the third administration, the third council, and every year we hear, and I'm going to be polite, Ms. Winfrey Carter, we hear misinformation. See, I don't like to say people lied to us. I'm going to just say misinformation saying strongly what people did and what they do. The constant has been Suzanne Wilcox. She's worked under 3 different administrations and then bamboozled and brought this stuff late to council after council after council to help a mayor, in this case, Mr. Neely, allocate 100% of money the way that he wants. $5 million. We're sitting on $74 million that we can be creative with. So this ain't a year that you're gonna get my vote after you done not told us the truth. I'm gonna clearly vote no, because when the bully continue to take your lunch money, you let them keep taking it, they gonna take it. I learned that way long ago. If this is so important, why ain't Mr. Whittigan and Suzanne Wilcox here? Why aren't they here? Maybe they made some phone calls. Maybe they know they got 6 votes. They ain't got mine. I'm not new. I'm seasoned, I'm a veteran, and I'm gonna look out for them organizations. But I might do it with another pot of $5 million to make a point to these folks. Believe me, I support all of the organizations. But it's more than, my mama used to say, Gerald, it's more than one way to skin a cat. They should be here. Suzanne Wilcox should be here. We paying department heads big bucks. We sitting up here making 500 or so every 2 weeks. They making 5,000 every 2 weeks. We meet regularly twice a month. And look, this is so important, they ain't here. They ain't here. That speaks volumes. They want y'all to look at it as important to y'all. Year after year after year. Mr. Murphy, I can answer the question if I'm the only one here with knowledge. If you pass the reconsideration and then you get to the resolution, you can amend it up to 15% in each category. The opportunity to amend it 100% has passed, intentionally and on purpose. If you let the bully keep taking your lunch money, they'll walk out on you, they'll disrespect you, they won't do it, and then they'll laugh, and then give high fives. You won't give a high five on me this go round. And to the organizations, we can fund you, but with a different pot of money.
Point of information.
What's your point?
Madam Chair, through you to the speaker, are you sure that we can amend at this point?
Based upon the information that I had, yeah. As far as Suzanne them publishing it and doing, the opportunity of 100% amendment had passed. At this point today, I'm not 100% sure, but I would bet you still can amend this resolution. you think otherwise through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Winfrey Carter, you think the 15% deadline has passed?
I think that deadline has passed.
Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, we'll see what this majority do. And if they amend it and do wrong, Mr. Murphy, they'll let you know. Then you have to come back and reconsider the amendments. They should be here to answer those questions, Ms. Winfrey Carter. Suzanne, Whittick, and them should be here. And for them not to be here on $5 million, maybe they texting some of their colleagues right now. I'm sure people be on the phone texting and communicating with them. Ask them. Have Mr. Neely and whoever you know in the administration texting and leaving meetings. Ask them. Get the answer in 5 minutes. Can you amend it? I think I know what I'm talking about. I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong, but guess what? The bullies won't take my lunch money this year. I'll vote no and sleep well. At some point, you must send a message. At some point, you must gain your respect, and I'm not going to let no organization suffer from the incompetency of this mayor and this administration and the disrespect that they give in this council.
All righty, thank you. And is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
I'm not going to vote no on this so that I can turn around and spend $5 million in ARPA funds to recoup these money. That doesn't make sense. How does that punish the administration? That doesn't punish the administration or any administration. Like, that punishes the community. That makes zero sense. Why would we take $5 million out of the community in ARPA funds to replace these funds to prove a point? I can't comprehend that. I think that whether or not the administration needs some better guidance, and maybe we need a CBDG ordinance on deadline dates internally that we need to have. We don't need to punish the community. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to spend $5 million in ARPA to make up for these funds when these funds are here to prove a point. It's financially outside of my realm to do that. So I will not be supporting that. I will be supporting the reconsideration because these monies, whether or not we agree with them, that's a whole different topic. But I think we can all collectively agree that good will happen out of these funds some way, somehow. So I will be voting to reconsider them.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Final call? All right, hearing none, that brings us on a motion, that brings us to the vote on the motion to reconsider Resolution 220190.1. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
I abstain.
Ms. Barnes not in. Ms. Hergenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Mr. Mays?
Yeah, I abstain for the record, for the reasons that I've stated on the record. This was intentional. It's like taking money from, or bully taking money from somebody's lunch money. I've stated clearly on the record what my position is, and I stick with it, and I'll still probably vote no on the next round. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Point of order.
What's your point?
Ms. Hergenroder, you're definitely out of order when I'm stating my reason for abstaining on the record and I can hear your voice. You're out of order. You need to know it. And how do you rule on that when I'm stating my charter-given right to state my reason for objections? Do you think that I didn't hear you?
Thank you, Mr. Mays.
No thanks to you, and cut it out. It ain't a thank you, it's ruling on a point of order.
Mr. Mays, I have to...
Point of order.
What's your point?
Thank you is not a ruling.
Okay. What's
You
your-
got a duty, point of order, you got a duty to rule whether you should be talking when I'm stating my reason for abstention.
Mr.
You didn't
Mays?
do that. You said thank you in a condescending way. That's not even proper.
I'm sorry that you thought that. What's the vote count, Davina?
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no, and 2 abstentions.
All right, the vote is, how many noes?
0.
Okay, 6 yes, 0 no, and 2 abstentions. So that resolution is now up for discussion again. The chair will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 220190.1.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Worthing.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Madam Chair, second.
It's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Mays, and then I think it was Mr. Murphy who I heard.
Did Mr. Murphy ask for the floor?
Yes, as I stated, it would be Mr. Mays and then Mr. Murphy.
Oh, okay. Let me say this, Mr. Piper. You might not see what I say to make sense, but that's you. You ain't been here long as I have. And you might think it don't make sense where you fool around and do something different and take care of organizations with different money. But I didn't think it made sense for this council to stop an investigative hearing when we was trying to get to the bottom of a $3 to $9 million amount of money that we didn't have to spend. You know, sometimes I don't think it makes sense, some of the stuff you say. But that's you talking. And you're talking about what my logic is as it relates to money. Sometimes you need to speak up when folks vote no to find $3 to $9 million and turn their head on it. You sat here long enough, it might make sense to you. So I hear what you're saying, and the people of the city of Flint hear what I'm saying. I'm listening to this council. I listen how they word their stuff. Now here I am with a brain, and you're going to tell me what don't make sense in a condescending way, recklessly. It make plenty sense to me. It make plenty sense to me to take care of organizations, such as Big Brothers, Big Sisters, all kind of organizations. It make plenty sense to me. What don't make sense to me, Mr. Piper, is when you voted no to spend money for the police department and public safety and people dying in the street. What didn't make sense to me, Mr. Piper, when you voted no.
Point of information, when did I ever vote no?
Maybe
Please.
you was absent. Was you here for the budget or gone? It don't make sense to me when you and others vote no for blight and cutting weeds down in our neighborhoods. So that don't make sense to me. So when you try to talk intelligently and pick and choose your words as it reflect on something I say, but what don't make sense, then I'm gonna frankly say to you loudly, it don't make sense for you, to me, when you vote no not to cut them weeds down. It don't make sense to me when you vote no not to subpoena folks and say an audit and you don't even control the audit. Some of that don't make sense to me. And I can find polite ways to communicate. But see, I know what expressly mean and I know what implied mean. So you implying that this councilman ain't got sense. I got plenty of sense. And I got plenty of sense to know what you imply. So you done been here 8, 9 months and voted no, no, no on stuff that makes sense to me in my community. So keep on saying what don't make sense. And I'm gonna tell you what already don't make sense that you and the majority of some of these council folks done voted for. Maybe it's a cultural differences in some cases. But y'all don't want to get me started on what makes sense. You're in a political arena, I'm a politician. When I say something, to me it makes sense. To you and how you live, it might not. So a bunch of your no votes this far don't make sense. You raised an issue about posting a meeting, but you didn't raise that same issue about a public hearing when you voted yes to remove my black butt from president. Some of the stuff you do don't make sense. And the majority of this council that you vote along with don't make sense. So cut the crap.
Okay. Mr. Murphy, you have the floor.
Thank you. I wanted to move $40,000 from the Crony Derby. They're getting $568,000. I wanted to take $40,000 from there, move $20,000 to Made Institute for their neighborhood stabilization improvement program, and I also wanted to move $20,000 to Ashbury Church, but it will be up under the community kitchen, but it will be earmarked for equipment. They maintain vacant lots over there in their neighborhood, and I went over there and they was using push lawnmowers. I don't know how many vacant lots. They got a lot of hoop houses over there in that neighborhood. So I would like to make amendment to this resolution and just move $40,000 from the Crony Derby. We already given them $568,000.
Mr. Murphy, where's the Crony Derby on this?
It's right here at the top. If you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, you go the fourth one down probably, or the fifth one. It's right up under the Buick Gallery facade improvement. It's $568,000. $14.
I see. It's under Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Okay, so
is
you
it
want,
up under Parks and Rec?
Yeah,
it is.
it's just how it's, so you want to move $40,000?
I want to move $40,000 from there.
Okay.
And I want to move $20,000 to Made Institute. That's Leon Elamine, North Flint Neighborhood Stabilization and Improvement. He got $45,000. We want to add $20,000 there. Would make that be $65,288.77. And I also want to move $20,000 to Ashbury CDC, Ashbury Community Kitchen, but it will be earmarked for equipment.
Point of information.
What's your point?
Through you to the speaker. I'm gonna try to keep up with you, but you gotta go slower.
Okay.
Can you kind of take it from the top and go slow and kind of look at me and
So
see
I'm
if
taking, let me go again. I'm taking away $40,000 from the Crony Derby Downs Rehab, which is $568,000.
What page?
It's on the front page of the line item of the Community Development Block Grant dollars.
It's page 14 in the packet. It's page 14 in the packet.
Page 14.
Yeah.
In your package. The thick package.
The big packet, yeah.
Right there. Yeah. Yeah, you can. You done? That's it. Those are only two areas.
Okay, I do want to make sure that I have the account numbers correct, because I know some are in and some are out, so we'll have to clarify the account numbers with our staff. Mr. Murphy, where's the CDC? Where's Asbury on here?
Where's the who?
Asbury?
It's on the other page. If you flip it over to on the other side.
It's towards the bottom.
Towards the bottom.
There it is, okay.
Yeah.
And you want 20,000 there too?
Yes.
Okay, so let me make sure I get this account number written down, and then I'll read back that motion.
And I have to excuse myself because I gotta be out of here, but I just wanted to make those two changes.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
so there's a motion on the floor to amend resolution. Sorry, I'm juggling pages here. There's a motion on the floor to amend resolution 220190.1, which would change it into a .2 if we get a second, but to allocate $40,000 away from the Cronin Derby,
Yeah,
have $20,000 of that go to the Maid Institute,
yes,
and $20,000 of that to go to Asbury CDC earmarked for equipment.
yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
Okay, it has been moved and properly supported by Ms.
Madam-
Priestley. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Worthing.
can I just, through you to the clerks, I know you've done this before. If it was published, can we make changes now with the 15%? Are we too late? Before I vote on this, I just want that opinion.
I'm going to respond to say that we would have no idea, and I wouldn't want to even speak on something like that. Would have no clue. So
I couldn't hear you at all.
I could not tell you. It's not something we would even speak on. So I have no idea. I'm not,
Okay.
yeah, wouldn't be able to speak on it. The only person that could tell you would be Suzanne Wilcox
Uh,
or Mr. Edwards.
Point of information.
Okay.
What's your point?
We can, to you through the speaker, I think we could try, and if it don't work, we could just, at least we tried.
I know, but if we try and then the funds don't go through, then that's lots of money gone. That's my point. I don't mind changing it, but I also don't want to change it if it's going to make the monies not go through. All right, thanks.
Is there any other discussion on the amended motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Mays.
I'm hearing a special meeting on the horizon. Suzanne ain't here. Ain't nobody here. I'm gonna move to table this into the special meeting, and I so move.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to table, which would be postponed, to postpone this resolution to the undetermined special meeting. Is that appropriate?
Yeah, if there's one coming up soon, if not, I'll say I'll move to table it to a special meeting, a committee meeting, or a regular meeting when we can have somebody here to discuss these amendments.
Okay, so the motion to well, hang on, Mr. Mays, so that just confused the motion. So do you want a motion to postpone it to the upcoming special meeting that has not yet been defined, or do you want a motion to send it back to a committee?
I'm gonna repeat my motion again. I'm moving to postpone this to the special meeting, a regular meeting, or a committee meeting, and I so move.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to postpone resolution 220190.1 to the undetermined upcoming special meeting, a regular meeting, or a committee meeting. Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay, that motion dies for lack of second.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
Yeah, Madam Chair. I know when you move money from one category to another, it has to be the same category. For example, if you take money from economic development, where the $568,000 is, and you move it down to the Maid Institute, which is housing, I don't think that can fly. I've been around long enough to know that you have to move money in the same category. And this council can vote and do what they want. I won't be a part of it because maybe they innocently don't know those categories. I do know those categories, and I'm gonna stick with what I think I know. And so I don't know, without Suzanne and them here, if this is a proper amendment. I know it means something to Mr. Murphy. The Maid Institute means something to me, Leon Elamine and others. But I know you can't cross-move money. That I do recall. You recall that, Ms. Winfrey Carter, through you to Ms. Winfrey Carter? Yeah. And so that's what I be saying about the council and procedure. A lot of folks don't know. They might mean well, Geraldine, but they just new and don't know. And they put motions and they rubber stamp each other, and sometimes they don't care. I done seen it. I done seen this council vote and break its own rules. I done seen them, I mean, big things. But they smart. They know more, don't know yet. So I hope they go on and pass this. I think I know what I'm talking about. They ain't even had a clue that rule exists. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Worthing?
I think I'm just going to vote no on this only because I have a lack of direction and I don't want to do the wrong thing and have funds not be appropriated to the correct people. So I'm going to vote no on this and yes to the original, not as a disrespect to Quincy, but maybe we can do something else at another time and hopefully next year. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? And that was the second round. I apologize, I did not make that clear. In the second round, is there any other
Pointer,
discussion?
that was the first round.
When Ms. Worthing spoke again, that opened up the second round, so we are in the second round.
So I can speak again.
Yes.
Let me say this. A lot of this stuff is by design. People don't know about switching categories. Ain't nobody here. You done voted to reconsider. Now, 5 members want to vote to approve something with no changes. That's by design. There was a motion to postpone it for a day or two, a special meeting, postpone it for a committee meeting, wait till Suzanne is here, died for a lack of second. How more cooperative can you be than that with folks who don't know the rules? Folks should want people to be here. They should demand people to be here rather than fumble the ball with new council folks that ain't never really went through this process and heard the rules. I throw my hands up because there's a lot of smart folks here on stuff they ain't never did before. A lot of speeches, a lot of politics, and guess what I say? Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do and say. Lord, forgive them. I mean, and made some gangster moves in 3-4 months. Then violated the law 3 or 4 times. And folk getting me told. Just rude. You know what I should have do? Just let them do it. But I can't do it because I know wrongs. They told me when you see wrongdoing and you remain silent, you're just as guilty as the wrongdoers. I won't remain silent. I was elected to speak. I was elected to stand up, fight for folks, fight for what's right, knock down rhetoric and wrongdoing. I'm going to continue to do it. When I die, I won't do it. I just can't do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the second round?
Madam Chair.
I saw Mr. Pfeiffer, but I heard Ms. Priestley.
Go
so
ahead.
We'll do Mr. Pfeiffer, then Ms. Priestley.
I was just going to say, I'm going to echo the sentiments of the colleague in the 9th ward that because we don't know, it'd probably be best if we passed it as it is. And once again, maybe we look at the projects that Mr. Murphy mentioned with that alleged other pot of money to allocate those whatever additional dollars to them. But every one of these organizations have already applied for this amount of money. They've already have a plan for this amount of money. So it's probably best that we just allocate this amount of money, and then we can, if anybody else has any additional wish list, then we can add to this amount of money. So I will be voting no on this and yes on the original. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any, Ms. Priestley?
What he said.
That's all right. Okay, is there any other discussion in the second round? Okay, so I will speak last. I have to abstain on any vote approving this or denying this because I wrote 2 of the grants that are in this mix for question, and I worked for an organization that would receive funding as a result of this. I don't feel it's appropriate for me as a council member to allocate this funding knowing that this would benefit the organization that I work for. That being said, that brings us on the vote to amend Resolution 220190.1. I'm going to save us all from listing the specific amounts. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley?
No.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Herkenroder?
Abstain.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Ms. Worthing?
No.
Mr. Mays?
No.
Ms. Lewis?
No.
Mr. Murphy is not here. The vote is 6 no, 1 abstention.
Okay, so 0 yes, 6 no, and 1 abstention? Okay, so that brings us back to the original motion, which is the motion to approve Resolution 22, that fails. That brings us back to the original motion to approve Resolution 220190.1. Mr.
Madam
Mays?
Chair.
Are you asking to speak?
Yeah.
You've already spoken in the first round of discussion. Is there any other discussion in the
Point
first
of
round?
information.
What's your point?
Are you saying you're going to vote, you're going to abstain on this vote?
I have to. For clarity, the only members who have spoken during the first round is Mr. Mays and Mr. Murphy. So is there any other discussion?
You talking about in the first round?
Yes, sir. Is there any other discussion in the first round? Final call in the first round? I'm seeing movement, but no, okay, I was like, I'm seeing movement, but no one's talking. Ms. Priestley and then Ms. Worthing, did you want it or was it Ms. Winfrey Carter? I thought I heard a voice. Okay, Ms. Priestley and then Ms. Worthing.
Yeah, I think that if we don't...
Is your mic on?
I feel that if we don't pass this, then we are jeopardizing funding across all of the agencies, and that we have a duty to the community to pass this. And so I am voting yes on this resolution.
Okay. Ms. Worthing?
I'm also voting yes. I do not want these organizations to lose out on funding. Although I do like Mr. Pfeiffer's suggestion that maybe we should have an internal deadline next year so that we can see what the allocations are and make any changes as needed. So I appreciate that suggestion. And again, I'll be voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the first
Madam
round?
Chair?
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, saying no to this or abstaining to this is just going to hurt the community. It's not going to prove a point to the administration. They're not going to be the ones lacking these funds, the community are. So I implore my colleagues to vote yes and not hold the community hostage in retribution for something that we should have taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the first round?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Y'all. Now, you know what? And Pfeiffer, you did make a good point. I'm upset. I'm just really upset with the process. It's not right. We didn't even have our chance to even go through this, to look at what organizations, we didn't even get a whole list of the organizations that even applied and didn't even make it through. And I'm not blaming the City Advisory Committee. I'm not blaming them because they've done a good job. But I don't agree with this process. But yes, you're right. I don't want to have these organizations not get what they need. But I am going to say this. When council vote, like we voted back in 2019, August of 2019, we voted on several organizations to get contracts. Certain organizations didn't get their contracts when Neely got into office because those organizations were held up because of the fact that certain individuals in those organizations supported Mayor Weaver. So he held back contracts. They sat on his desk for months. Okay? And this is kind of like the same thing. We didn't even get a chance. Council didn't even get a chance to look at this before the administration made recommendations, or even after their recommendations. We hold the purse strings. We are the trustees of this city. And I'm angry, but I'm not going to take it out on these organizations. And we need a better process. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? First round. Okay, in the second round, is there any other
Madam
discussion?
Chair.
Mr. Mays.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think people missing the point. Ms. Winfrey Carter, I even kind of think you missing the point, and I'll tell you why. I don't see nothing in here that say this have to be passed today. You ain't got Suzanne here to help navigate any changes. That's why Mr. Murphy wasn't able to navigate them right. I think people is a little misguided. Before Ms. Burns came, I say they're in trouble because I didn't know Ms. Herkenroder would have to abstain. I made a motion to postpone this until somebody was here, whether it was a special meeting, a committee meeting, or a regular meeting. And so it sounds like it's been the past, but it won't pass with my vote because a motion to postpone until Suzanne and them was here. I support big brothers, big sisters, Grace Emmanuel, but I don't know what North Star Development is, 700,000. It's a lot of stuff I don't know what it is. 500,000 for golf and recreation. No, they won't get my vote. I don't even know if we got that much golf in the city of Flint. I know Neely and them. And I know how y'all being played. And I don't know who with him, but I know some of them who with him. People hide behind politics. People play political games. Do you think this was brought for reconsideration on the last and final day? A special meeting can be called in 24 hours. I ain't buying in the Pfeiffer's name argument. Oh, we got to do it or we hurt these organizations. I made a motion to postpone and it died for a lack of second. Unbelievable. And then they found out Ms. Herkenroder have to abstain. Oh, we got a problem. I ain't buying into it, Ms. Winfrey Carter. This council been disrespected during the budget process. They didn't show up. Council members and or the administration. They've been disrespected today, and they're being disrespected now. And then you got new council people. We gotta do it or we hurt these organizations. No, you don't. You just gotta have the political will to show up for a meeting and make Suzanne and them come and explain this stuff. Now, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it looked like golf, parks and recreation, Cronin, Derby, Downs, rehab, 568,000, North Star Development USA, 708,000. If y'all can tell me what this is and spend more than 5 minutes on it, God bless you. I asked to table it, and the big shots here, you could hear crickets. So I'm not forced in the position you in. My position is totally different. And I ain't gonna say nothing else, but I will be voting no, and I'm livid that this council won't even try to get the proper information and make Suzanne and them come for something this important. Won't we forced to pass it? No, I'm not. I'm forced to do what's right for the city of Flint. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the second round?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Worthing.
I just want to point out that North Star is, it's part of that housing project that we passed, affordable housing, and I bet it's going to my ward, so I just have to kind of put that in there. They're doing great things. There was one in Miss Winfrey Carter's ward. So it's not a negative or bad company. I just keep hearing that name, and I just want to make sure we know who exactly they are. That's that plan to help. Atherton East. It's when it gets late, I'm done.
Point
I
of
can't find my
information.
words. What?
Through you to Ms. Worthing, I said, I don't know, but I'm glad you told me, and I can receive your information if you believe that. But y'all need to start receiving mine. That would be a fair exchange, wouldn't it? Quick inquiry. Thank you so much.
I get Mr. Mays' point. I just wanted to just make sure we all knew who North Star was. It's really important for my Atherton East residents to be able to go into their affordable homes, as that's not livable anymore. And I do support that organization. I had a chance to go visit their apartments in Detroit along with Miss Winfrey Carter, and it was really, really done well, and residents took care of their property. So anyways, that's all. I'll be
Point
voting
of
yes.
information through you to Ms. Worthing.
What's your point?
Ms. Worthing, do you know what the Cronin Derby Down stuff is?
Okay. Ms.
You
Winfrey
don't?
Carter, and then I think I saw
Thank you.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
And thank you, Ms. Worthing. You're right. I looked here and I saw North Star. This is that Clark's Commons, Phase 3, I believe. Actually, Phase 3 is in the 5th Ward. Have they started? Yeah. So, you know, they've started another phase in Smith Commons. I mean, in Smith Village. I'm sorry, Smith Village. But and I did see that, and Councilman Mays, I hear what you're saying. I do. I really do hear what you're saying. And Suzanne Wilcox should be here tonight because we do have questions. Madam Chair, through you to Attorney Kim. Attorney Kim, what is the deadline? Do you know?
I don't know the specific deadline for when the city has to finalize that or submit that.
But I think it's coming up. I really do think it's coming up.
It ain't tomorrow.
Huh? It's what?
It ain't within 24 hours.
Oh, see, this is the problem. We get this stuff at the very last minute. Okay? And then you're forced to vote
It ain't nobody
without
here.
even asking questions.
Not me.
And people are missing in action. Just like the budget. Just like the budget. I'm not going to let this city be out of compliance. So we have a June 30th deadline? Is that what I'm hearing? Thursday. And we have questions? No answers. And council was totally disregarded in the process. I'm through. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. But I did see this Clark Commons project. I need for them to finish that project. They've been working every day in the Smith Village area, and that project has to continue. We can't hold that project up. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yep. So real quick, the 30th, I believe Ms. Wilcox, when this was originally on it, she stated on the record that June 30th was the deadline. As far as the Cronin Derby Downs, that is, those of you who know, the Cronin Derby Downs is behind Southwestern, and they just had a big event, I believe going down University Drive, where they had their derby cars, and they're implementing, I believe, an after-school program to have people get more engagement, and I believe the grandson or the son of Cronin, because Cronin is the name of it, is bringing this back and trying to bring that program back and have a road derby program with the Flint Community Schools. So that's what that is for those who wanted. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the second round? Dr. Lewis?
All right, thank you. Just want to provide a little insight about the Derby Downs, because I know that I never heard of it, because it's outside of what I'm used to. But the great thing about it is that it's bringing new things to Flint that we're not used to. And although we might see that they wanted $500,000+ for it, we also must keep in mind that they are being sponsored by, it's one of the V companies, so either it's going to be Volvo or Volkswagen. So this is going to be leveraged with those funds, and it's receiving national recognition right here in the city of Flint. And if you would like to know more about it, Flint Beat wrote an article about the soapbox derby returning after a 2-year hiatus, and that's dated June the 3rd. So I really do admonish my colleagues and the public to take a look at that. And it was written by Flint Beat, and it'll give you a little glimpse of what's going on with that money. So just wanted my colleagues to understand what's going on in terms of that funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Burns?
Is disappointed. I understand how you feel, Councilwoman Winfrey Carter, because this does come at the last minute. And I've seen those contracts sit on the shelves, and where certain groups were punished. I've also seen where Suzanne did bring them down to the mayor's office, and they did nothing with them. So she brought them down before. So we keep having this problem. Last minute isn't good. I understand that the administration has to also follow instruction, which is to leave at 9. And that's just an improper way to do it. I'm not voting on this. And if someone loses out, it's not my problem. It's not my problem. I've seen them contracts sit there. Excuse me, did you want to say something to me, Ms. Warren? I'm just calling on the board. Oh, okay. Because I've seen this. We ask for wind funds. We ask for certain, it's a respect. I have seen certain agencies who request money not get money. And it's too much of who you know in this town to get something. The new agencies don't simply get it. So for me, if they want us to be able to make an informed decision, get it to us in a timely manner. We keep being forced to make issues that we don't agree with. That is the administration's issue. Suzanne should be here to answer questions. And who Suzanne answers to is the city administrator. He's not here. And who he answers to is the mayor. We passed the budget, and we didn't get a line item. I voted no. I voted no. Not ever in Flint's history has a budget been passed with 0 amendments. 0. Not ever. Not ever. I don't have a clique. I have to do what I feel is right. I've seen groups who have said, how come I didn't get funded? And it's been a lot. Big brothers, big sisters didn't get funded. They were calling. I was taking their calls. It's certain things that we just don't do. To go through this, and I've got questions. We had a budget that nobody in the administration showed up to for budget adoption. Not ever in history had that ever happened. We didn't have the CFO, we didn't have the city administrator. Nobody showed up, and definitely not any department heads. There was a 0 show. 0 people showed up for our budget adoption. I'm not going to keep saying it's okay. I voted no for the budget because I wanted a line item. We didn't get it. If I'm asking the CFO for questions and he's not answering my questions, then we have a problem.
Point of information.
What's your point?
Madam Chair, through you to Ms. Burns, do you think this council had the political will to try to get them here on the 29th?
Proceed.
I would implore the administration to do that because I do have questions. And there's too many times I've seen agencies who put in for these funds and they don't get them. And then when it comes back around, a lot of them don't even know that you can, the reallocation of funds, they didn't know that. They don't know it. So people are left out there saying, hey, you know, I don't know what's going on. I put it in and nothing is done. I'm not voting on this. I'm not voting no, I'm not. If it was that important, someone from the administration should be here to answer these questions. They didn't do it for our budget adoption, and they're not doing it now. So if you want to be upset with somebody, be mad at the administration. That's not my issue. And it's unfortunate, but you cannot put that on council when they should be here. We keep passing items without asking questions. They put us in these seats to ask questions. And that's a problem for me. This and it's really important. And there are some items and some agencies I completely agree with. Completely agree with. But you don't have the administration who thinks it's important enough to be here to ask questions. I'm not doing it. I voted no on the budget. And I'm not ready to vote on this. I'm not. I have questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the second round? I think that's everybody but me, actually. Okay. Again, I have to abstain on this. I will implore my colleagues, though, to also remember that this has been about a month-long process. We did receive this resolution for the first time June 4th, wherein we did ask Ms. Wilcox a significant number of questions. I understand that more questions arise as time goes on. That's a fact of life. I'm thankful for my colleagues for also clarifying North Star and Clark Commons and everything that's happening with that. It is a tremendous asset to the community. It's beautifying a whole portion of Smith Village and helping support and stabilize housing for the residents who were previously living in Atherton East, which I don't know who all has been to Atherton East, but it's not the most pleasant of communities at this current moment. So I implore my colleagues to please support this resolution so that we can help a number of programs and a number of people who are currently experiencing homelessness in the community and who are trying to make a better life for themselves. With that being said, that brings us to the roll call vote on the motion to approve Resolution 220190.1. Madam Clerk?
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
I abstain.
Ms. Hergenroder?
I have to abstain.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Mays?
I abstain because we could have demanded they be here on Wednesday the 29th and see if they showed up. Nobody here for those reasons. I abstain. This is a game.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
The vote is 5 yes, 0 no, 3 abstentions.
The vote is 5 yes, 0 no, 3 abstention. The motion passes.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Pfeiffer.
I make a motion for a master resolution with any separations.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for a master resolution for approval with any separations. Support. It's been moved and properly supported. Are there any separations?
Yeah, Madam Chair, give me a second to see if I have any separations.
Okay. Does anybody else have any at the ready?
I don't have any separations, I don't think, at this time.
Okay.
Let me look one more second. No, I don't have any separations at this time.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mays.
This is my discussion. This council, to me, is doing too much. The administration, Mr. Neely, is directing his staff to run them ragged. It's working. It's working. These particular resolutions, the memorandum for the firefighters, the additional fire hydrants, additional postage costs, no problem. That incident with the firefighters that was talked about earlier, I believe that had something to do with some type of cover-up and politics, and Mr. Neely don't want that out. I don't know how many folks on this council he calling down and fooling, and some of these votes is confusing to me. But I'm telling you, I don't think the devil is in control. I think God is in control. I think he'll open folks' eyes and reveal stuff. And tonight has been a little much. They play you close to a deadline. Play them closer. This council, I wish they had the political will to meet Wednesday before the deadline and do this stuff right. I'm hearing people say it wasn't right, but they're steady voting for it. That ain't my style. If they push you up to a deadline, push them back. But remember, we had a special meeting for Wednesday. We ain't gonna have it because they ain't here. If we operate because they ain't here, we might well go home. It's unacceptable. This council is not my type of council. I want some new folks that'll stand up and fight for the people and fight for what's right and not what's wrong. I'm making up my mind. Every council meeting, I'm making up my mind. Who am I? Maybe I ain't right, but I've been right with the people I represent for 9 years, and people all across the city of Flint, they tell me, stand up and fight. That's what we like about you. We didn't have to do what we did tonight. Today is Monday. You got Tuesday and Wednesday. When something ain't right, I ain't with it. I vote yes on this master resolution. There's nothing really there. And then we'll go to ordinances, and I'll go home. It's a sad day in the city of Flint, in my opinion, with the majority of this council. And this majority is unpredictable. I'm kind of tripping. When somebody push you to the wall, you push them back. And you should have seen what they show up Wednesday and do their job. Don't let these people play you unless it's something I don't see. I'm not like Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles. My eyes is wide open, and some of this mess up here on this council, I don't quite understand. Lord willing, I'll figure it out. Thank you so much.
Is there any other discussion in the first round? In the first round? In the first round? Hang on, Miss Tonya. Is there any discussion in the second round? In the second round? The second round? Hearing none, that brings us to the vote on the master resolution. For clarity, those resolutions are 220242, 220243, 220244, 245, 246, 247, 248, 250, 251, 252. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Sorry, Ms. Burns. Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
The vote is 8 yes, 0 no.
Okay, the vote is 8 yes, 0 no. That brings us down to ordinance 220253. The chair will entertain a motion for approval. It's on page 6.
Madam Chair,
Dr. Lewis.
so moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Support.
It's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Even though I didn't get the referral completed about the 2019 pilot and how much money has actually been paid, I'm not going to take it out on this pilot. So, and I'm aware that how dire need that these housing developments need this money. So, like I said before, I'll support this. If this was a new pilot, I would be a definite no, but since this is existing housing that needs to be rehabbed, I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Councilman Mays, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote yes. This is one of my favorite attorney guys. We don't always see eye to eye, but I had to give him a shout out. That's my way of doing it. But Flint housing and the people in Flint housing, Mintz Manor, Centerview, that's who I'm really voting for. I'm voting for those people, and I want them to have better conditions, the best they can get. I would vote for this time and time again. This is first reading. After first reading, if it passed, because I can't even predict this council, if and when it passed, then there'll be a public hearing, second reading and adoption. God bless you guys, and God bless the residents of those housing projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Mays. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any discussion in the second round? Any discussion in the second round? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk? Roll call, please.
Ms. Herkenroder is not in right now. Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Mays.
Yeah, Madam Chair, was that our last action item? That was our last action item on the agenda.
No. Point of order, point of information. Are you aware that that's the first of 4 ordinances, all for the housing?
For first reading?
Yes.
No, what did they come from, special affairs? I only see
Point of
two.
information, if you look on page 7, you'll find them.
Yeah, my agenda only show 220253, for introduction and first reading.
Sure. So there should also be 220254, 220255, and 220256.
On what page?
Should be page 7.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm looking at page 6.
Okay.
Now
Well,
let me flip over, hold on.
yep.
Madam Chair?
While you're finding that, Mr. Pfeiffer?
I move that we,
Hold on a minute, please.
Mr.
Ms. Burns, give me the flow. Y'all a little too anxious.
Mr. Pfeiffer, proceed.
I move that we move
Man, let me go home, because I've been cussed.
220254.
You,
first
point of
reading.
order.
Mr. Mays, you are out of order. Mr.
Point of order.
What's your point?
You out of order when you continue to talk, and I call a point of order. My point of order that Ms. Burns was chairing. She gave me the floor
Okay.
before you sat back in that chair. Don't disrespect me and try to move on, you and Pfeiffer. Now, you can rule on the point of order, and I'll deal with it. But don't be disrespectful and rude.
Okay, so Mr. Mays, for clarity, I was standing right here when we switched that. I believe that you just requested the floor, which Ms. Burns asked you. You asked a point of clarification. Mr. Pfeiffer was trying to clarify. We were all trying to help you find your place on the agenda. Mr. Pfeiffer was in the middle of making a motion when I did hear your voice.
Point of order. Didn't Mr. Pfeiffer say point of information? That's what the record will show. That means he was talking to me.
He did prior.
I had the
but then
floor.
Mr. Mays, I'm ruling you out of order. Mr. Pfeiffer
Okay,
has the
I'm
floor.
going to appeal your ruling.
Okay, is there a second to that appeal? Is there a second to that appeal? Is there a second to that appeal? Okay, hearing none, then that brings us back to Mr.
Ain't that
Pfeiffer.
something?
Mr. Pfeiffer was in the middle of making a motion. Mr. Pfeiffer.
Make a motion to adopt for first reading, introduction and first reading, 220254.
Okay,
Support.
it's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Final call, is there any discussion? Okay. All right, that brings us to the vote on the motion to adopt for first reading, ordinance 220254. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
Okay, the vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The chair, Mr. Pfeiffer? Is your mic on?
Approve for first reading, 220255.
Okay,
Support.
it's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, that brings us to the vote on the motion to send 220255 to first reading. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
Vote is 7 yes, 0 no. That passes. And then the chair will entertain a motion to approve 220256 for first reading.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Priestley.
I move we approve 220256 for first reading.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and properly supported. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Final call for discussion. I do, because I was in the bathroom when I think everybody else had their discussion on this cluster of pilots. I do just briefly want to say that Jason and the Housing Commission team has done so much work on this. I had the honor and privilege of being a part of this for a little bit of time when I was still at the Housing Commission, and was able to get a lot of good feedback from residents on the things that they want. And I think that this program is a tremendous win, not only for the Flint community, but also for the residents. So I'm very excited about this, and I'm thankful to see that we keep moving forward on it. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk, for the motion to send 220256 to first reading.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
Yes.
Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no.
Okay, the vote is 7 yes and 0 no.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Pfeiffer?
adjourn.
Okay, is there a second? It's been
Yep.
moved improperly. I heard multiple seconds. We'll go with Ms. Worthing's. Roll call, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Herkenroder?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer? Ms. Worthing?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Vote is 7 yes, 0 no. to
Vote is
adjourn.
7 yes, 0 no. It is 11:12. It's on June 27th. We are adjourned. Ooh, that was loud. I'm sorry. That was aggressive.